One guy we get tons of questions about is running back Damien Harris, and he has shown improvement and impressed so far in Patriots training camp. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Evan Lazar. Training Camp Central is powered by Manscaped. What have you seen from Harris from the two padded practices you were at so far? Has he shown that improvement and that he's willing and able to compete for some serious reps as a top running back on this team?
Sure. Well, let's start with the positives. I think the positive signs that we see is the vision between the tackles, the decisiveness between the tackles, and the ability to really cut back across the grain and see those opening lanes on the backside of a run or see things open up at post snap after the play has developed a little bit. He's been really good at that, and he's had some really nice carries where he's kind of gone against the grain or he's made a nice jump cut in the hole to get away from a tackle and get himself into space, which is exactly what we saw at Alabama. He just had sort of this knack to find the openings, to find those voids of space to get himself through the first and second level of the defense. He's also done a really nice job of catching the ball out of the backfield, which I think is something that the Patriots would love out of their first and second down back, to be a little bit more versatile, a little bit more explosive and kind of just dynamic as a pass catcher compared to Sony Michel over the last couple of years. So he does add those two things, I think, nicely into his skill set overall. The one thing, though, I will say is that he doesn't look overly bursty out there. He doesn't look overly explosive. And he's not really running away from anybody anytime soon, I don't think, in terms of as a ball carrier. But I think he is getting what's blocked and creating a little bit more added onto that with his cutbacks and his vision. And I like what I've seen so far out of him, but I'm not sure if his skill set is all that much different than what they were getting with Sony Michel, besides the fact that maybe they can get some added pass catching out of him versus what they got with Sony.
And definitely opportunity is a big positive for Harris here so far through training camp, because Sony Michel's on PUP, Brandon Bolden opted out. So we're seeing a lot more of Harris even than we normally would at this time. And so he's able to prove what he's able to do, but it's still a deep group. If Michel comes back, you still have Burkhead in there as well. Is he really competing for that number one spot, or what is his involvement actually going to look like this season?
Well, I think right now it's sort of a race for Lamar Miller and Sony Michel to get off PUP, right? Whichever guy gets off PUP first is probably going to have a spot on this team. And I think that Damien Harris is kind of hoping that both of them stay on there for as long as possible, right? So I think that's really the question is, do both of those guys stay on the PUP list and that allow him to continue to have this much of a workload? Because Rex Burkhead, to me, is still the better back. I think he's the more complete back. He's obviously the more veteran, more experienced running back. I think he's got a little bit more burst through the hole than what we've seen with Harris so far. But we also know that Rex is a little bit injury prone, and giving him a full workload of carrying the ball 25 times a game or 20 times a game probably isn't in his best interest. So my guess is that if this is how it continues for Sony and Lamar Miller, meaning they're not on the field for week one, then it will probably be Damien Harris and Burkhead in some sort of a platoon, some sort of backfield by committee, with, of course, James White mixing in there in his normal snaps and passing situations. So that's where I kind of stand with it right now. I still think Burkhead's going to get a lot of carries. I know fantasy football fans want to see, one back get all the carries, but I really don't see that happening. I think it's probably going to be a split between those three guys. And then once Michel and Lamar Miller get back into the mix, then it's kind of just a free-for-all at that point.
There could be platoons all over this Patriots offense. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll keep you updated.
The receivers, too, are kind of at practice, some personnel groupings. It's, N'Keal Harry and Julian Edelman. Other personnel groupings, it's the fast guys, Damari Bird. So everybody is sort of platooning right now. That's for sure.
An equal opportunity offense. That's what the Patriots are running this season. We'll keep you updated with all the training camp news on our website at clnsmedia.com, and subscribe to our YouTube channel over at Patriots Press Pass.
Patriots Training Camp Central is brought to you by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping using the code MAX20 at manscaped.com. Take your grooming game to the next level.